Life After the Rams is proudly sponsored by Seven Restaurant and Cafe Bar, located on Pride Park in Derby. Seven is the leading destination for all-day dining, artisan coffee and handcrafted cocktails, where the community comes together to relax, connect and celebrate.
Life After the Rams with Colin Gibson.
Welcome to episode 1 of Life After the Rams, the brand new podcast that brings you closer to your Derby County heroes, past and present. I'm Colin Gibson. Today we're kicking off with none other than Phil G. From unforgettable goals to life beyond football, Phil opens up about his journey on and off the pitch. Okay, before we kick off, here's a chance to win a £50 voucher to spend in the DCFC Megastore, courtesy of Rams Trust, the Derby County Supporters Trust. Simply answer this question via email, lifeaftertherams@backpassproductions.co.uk. Who did Phil room with whilst he was at Derby County? The closing date is midnight, Wednesday, October the 8th. The winner will be selected at random from all the correct entries. And good luck. For more information about Rams Trust, head to ramstrust.org.uk.
Life After the Rams with Colin Gibson.
Okay, let's get into our conversation then with Phil G, who's now 60. How did that happen?
Not a clue. Since I joined Derby, time has just flown by. You know, I can still remember Tuesday after Bank Holiday, Monday, we played, Gresley Rovers played Lye Town. It was a thrilling 0-0 draw, and I get up on the Tuesday and I think, I'm aching a bit, I'm not going to work today.
What were you doing work-wise then?
Painting and decorating.
Of course.
Yes. I then spent the day at home, and in the afternoon got a phone call from Gresley manager Frank Northwood saying Derby County want to sign you.
Life-changing.
Oh, it was, yeah. I mean, I didn't believe him at first when I sort of a few expletives and what do you really want? And he said, no, Derby want to sign you. I'd played at Tipton a few weeks before, and a Coventry scout said to me, don't sign for anybody until you hear back from us. And I think it was two games later, and when they said Derby want to sign me, I forgot all about what that scout said. And I said, I can go tomorrow. And Wednesday turned up at baseball ground and signed for 2 years.
Why did you forget about Coventry? Was it just it went out your head, or you wanted to sign for Derby?
No, it was it just came at me so quickly. I mean, I didn't think I played well in that game on the Monday, so I thought the manager was joking a little bit, but no. I called his bluff. I said, I'll go tomorrow. We went up there, we signed. Medical on the Thursday, and I went to work on the Friday, having been told if I had another day off, they'd sack me. So I went in and I put my brushes on the counter and I said, I'm resigning.
Was that a good feeling?
It was very good, yeah, because like he wanted. I know he wanted to sack me, but and it was through football. I was having days off, but yeah, well worth it.
Were you aware that clubs were watching you? Did you know about that sort of thing?
Only the guy from Coventry, when he said that he'd been watching me for a few games and not to sign for anybody.
There were no agents, obviously, back in the day, but how did football people get to know? How did somebody get to know there's this young lad playing for Gresley Rovers? He's worth a look.
I had a bit of an advantage at Gresley because Dave Nish was chairman and Roger Davis was manager when I decided to go to. Then he went on holiday and Frank Northwood came in, and then Roger was the first team sort of coach, assistant manager. But it was Roger and David, I think, that put my name forward to Derby.
And Arthur Cox.
Yes, Ron Dukes came to watch me.
And was he the chief scout?
Yeah, he came to watch, and apparently, through stories I've heard from Roy, he said that Ron phoned Roy up and said, sign him. So Roy went to Arthur and set the ball rolling.
What about the early days then, the transition to playing part-time? You said you ached when you played part-time football and effectively had to miss work the next day. What about suddenly, right, this is the real job now?
I think I was, for the first 2 or 3 weeks, I was on cloud nine and nothing, I didn't really take a lot in. Everything was just a whirlwind, and I just went along with it and played in the reserves, did my training. I was really tired after training as well. I'd work like sometimes 9-10 hours a day, and I was more tired after an hour and a half training than working a full day. When you start playing and you do start scoring, and you've been taken there to score goals, and you do start scoring in the reserves, but it's still a hell of a step up from what I was doing. You just get taken along on that wave, and it was fantastic.
There are probably lots of examples where it does happen, but at Derby I don't seem to recall too many of going out, finding a raw young player, bringing them into the reserves, and it works and they go through. Malcolm Christie's the other one that immediately springs to mind, playing non-league football, stacking the shelves in a supermarket.
We have Dave Penny.
Yeah.
He came from Pontefract Colliery, I think. Martin Taylor, Mile Oak. I think Kev Francis came from Mile Oak as well. After myself, I think we did have quite a few that came in from non-league.
So you come into a team that a club 10 years ago had been Football League champions, but had been relegated twice. And finally they get a manager in who's starting to turn them round. Comes in, hardly got any players. First season is just getting players in when he can, putting foundations together. And then 85-86, Derby start to go. But it's not plain sailing. And as usual, it's right at the end that it all comes together. And the timing for you couldn't have been better.
No, I'd been playing in the reserves all season. I think I made it was a first team competition, but we played our reserves down at Brentford. Freight Rover Trophy.
Oh, great competition.
0-0 draw at Brentford against their first team.
I remember that. Was that October time?
Yeah, something like
I remember there was a London journalist in the press box. I can't use the language that he was using. At the back of the programme that Brentford had produced bore no resemblance to the team sheet that came out, and he'd done all his research on these Derby players. Virtually none of them were playing. He was not a happy boy.
And I think we showed what we were doing in our reserve league that night, to hold them to a 0-0 draw. I had a couple of chances and we created some more, but we weren't overawed by them, and the first team were doing well. The reserves are doing really well in that Central League, against the Liverpools and the Man Uniteds. I made my debut against Walsall, my hometown club. Didn't manage to score, but we won 3-0, which was satisfying. And back to the reserves. Just by my time, I wasn't expecting to get in the first team. It was just a bonus when I got put on the bench against Doncaster. I think we drew 1-1.
Oh, yes.
But I managed to get the crossover for Rob to nod it in, and then sub again against Rotherham, and everybody knows the story. I scored my first goal for Derby. They scored more or less immediately after, and everything went quiet. And then we got a deserved penalty, And I was
what was it for?
It was for a push, and it was a definite push, because I was talking with Trevor Christie not long ago, and he said it was a definite foul
on
Jeff Chandler in the wall, getting pushed about, probably before the ball was kicked, but he still got pushed.
I'm going to rewatch the video to see if I can spot it.
I do think that the referee because I flicked the ball on and Bobby ran onto it, and he was going to go through and score. So the referee, in his mind, it was going to be a goal. So I think he gave us the penalty.
You sort of underplayed it a little bit. So the 1-1 draw against Doncaster means that you fall short. Jeff Chandler missed a penalty.
He missed a penalty, yeah. Jeff did.
So you go to Swansea in the midweek and win 3-0.
Yeah.
And there's 2 games to go. Rotherham and then Darlington away.
Last game.
Yeah. So it comes to the Friday night at the baseball ground. I mean, it was an incredible night. But you don't start. No. But then George Williams got injured.
George got injured, yeah. And I'm thinking, well, I can't play midfield. Not especially what George does, because I can't tackle. And the gaffer says, just go on up front with Trevor. And he brought Bobby back a bit. And I just latched onto a clearance from... And Trevor didn't touch it. He did dummy it. And I'd ran from my own half, so I couldn't have been offside. Little bit of a bobble, but, we'll take it. And put us 1-0 up. Just a dream to actually go and score in a league game.
But a huge league game, because finally, after years of decline, Derby can start to be going on the way back, as we called our cassette back in 1986.
Yeah, I remember an interview that Stuart Webb did after the game saying we'll consolidate our place in the league and then push on to try and get promotion to the First Division in 2 or 3 years' time. Well, we know it didn't happen.
No, it was a bit quicker than that. We'll come to that. So 1-1. Mark Wallington doesn't exactly cover himself in glory with their equaliser.
Yeah.
Superman. Yeah. And then the penalty, which, as we know, was clear-cut.
Cool as custard.
Cool as custard, as described by the great Graham Richards.
I was a bit disappointed the day after, because Radio Derby were phoning the players up to find out what their views were on the game and being promoted, and I sat by my phone all day. didn't get a call.
Sorry.
It's okay.
I hadn't got your number, obviously.
Yeah.
It was an incredible night, wasn't it?
It was. The weather didn't help as well. It was raining.
Yeah.
The pitch was a mud bath, as usual.
Yeah.
But it was unusually for May, I was told, a mud bath. And our pitch was never the best.
Okay, so you're promoted. You've come in as a kid from non-league football, played your time in the reserves, and get Derby on the way. Then in the summer, Trevor Christie goes, and they bring in Mark Lillis, and it's going to be Mark Lillis and Bobby Davison up front for the second division. Mark Lillis doesn't settle well. And gets injured early on. But before any of that, what was your thought that, hang on, I scored the goal that set us on the way. Why am I not in this team, Mr. Cox?
I wasn't entitled to think like that at that time. I was just a young whippersnapper, as Mark Wallington called me on my first day of training. I was just happy. And I'd gone in to see, the manager brought me in during pre-season and sort of more or less ripped my contract up that I'd signed without showing me another contract. I just thought, what have I done? But he produced another contract and I signed for 3 years. So I was happy. I got a 3-year contract, another season playing in the reserves, pushing for the first team, I thought. And Mark, he'd been brought in as Player of the Year at Man City. He'd been brought in to Derby, play up front with Bobby. I saw it that way. So I just got to try pushing.
Best laid plans of managers. Mark Lillis gets injured, and so, there's no choice. We'll have to stick Phil G.
Cheers.
Yeah.
No choice. Yeah.
But that's almost as it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, I suppose it was, yeah.
Yeah. But that's the irony, that, that Arthur Cox had this plan. He's the guy who's coming in to play with Bobby Davison. These guys are going to score the goals. And as I say, with all due respect to Mark, who's a lovely guy, he didn't look that comfortable early on. Maybe he was troubled by injury, I don't know. But he got an injury and suddenly, we better bring that kid Phil G back in. And the rest, again, as they say, is history. Because between yourself and Bobby Davison, you score 40 goals.
Yeah, I didn't start off so well. I think I was running into Bob where Bobby wanted to run. I was making my runs as well, and I think Bobby changed his game to suit mine rather than me have to change mine to suit the team. So Bobby, he was more of a target, and I was running on into the space, and then I'd have a shot and Bobby tap in the rebound, and all the time it seemed. But no, that helped me a hell of a lot. Greg's was another one. He used to tell me, just carry on doing what you're doing. Just carry on doing it. And he's told me since, Arthur used to get him in and say, look, should we get Phil to do this? And he'd say, just leave him. And it took me about 8 games really before I scored my first goal. I think it was against Hull, I'm not sure, but that was when Mark Lillis was just coming back from injury when I started knocking them in.
The irony also here is, was Mark Lillis your roommate?
He was in digs with me, yeah. I just have to check my dinner before I ate it, but yeah, he just kept saying to me, just carry on doing what you're doing, keep me out of the team as long as you can.
That's a hell of an attitude to have.
Yeah, I mean, when he was fit, he was sub, he was coming on, but I did set him up with his goal.
Yes. Easter Monday against?
Bradford.
Yeah.
And when he scored it and he's on the fence and the ref says, get off the fence, I'll book you. And he went, well, you can book me then. It's my first goal.
And then it all goes to Bramall Lane.
Yes.
Right at the end of the season.
Record away win.
Yeah.
For that, it got broken a few seasons ago.
Yeah. But go to Bramall Lane, if you win here, it's more or less 1 foot in the first division. And again, there are lovely twists and turns and turns in football. Who was in goal for
John Burridge?
John Burridge. Do you remember the story about John Burridge in Derby?
I don't really know.
Well, John Burridge came in for a short loan spell in the 3rd division under Arthur. I think Eric was injured, and I don't think Mark Wellington had signed by this point. So John Burridge comes in and is giving Arthur all I'll sign, I definitely want to sign, and this, that and the other. Anyway, Arthur being Arthur knows he's being strung along. And in the end, Arthur's going to confront John Burridge and say, are you going to sign for us? And John Burridge climbs out the window at the training ground on Rainsway and Scarpa's and is never seen again.
No, I never heard that.
Yeah. So, wind forward then, couple of years, Sheffield United attack, Eric Steele in goal because Mark Wellington had got injured. Ball comes out and it comes to you and you are well in your own half. Take us on from there.
Ball bobbled about a bit, as it does. I managed just to poke it past the defender, and as he's looking the one side, it's gone the other side of him, so I've got a yard on him, and I go through, it bounces up, and I thought I'm going to hit it. And Burridge stood there, legs akimbo, and I just aim at him, it goes straight through his legs and into the net. And 10,000 behind the goal just jumped up, hell of a noise. And as I've just gone, because I've sort of, Burridge standing there, I've just gone past him, nuts, and turned, and Gaz Micklewhite was there, and we had a little skip, and but you don't realise, I mean, looking back, I didn't realise how big that was, you know, at that time, and what it meant to everybody. And it's since I've started doing all this corporate stuff now that I do on a match day, you realise how much this club is loved by the fans.
Absolutely. So the following week, it's everybody's friends.
Oh, Dirty Leeds.
Dirty Leeds. At the baseball ground. Win this, you're promoted.
Yeah. Well, I think we needed just a draw.
Probably so. Yeah. But let's beat Leeds.
Yeah, let's beat them. You don't like drawing all.
No. So Bobby scored the first?
No.
You scored the first?
Yeah, Greg's won a ball just outside the centre circle in our half, and it came to me, and I miscontrolled it straight through Brendan Ormsby's legs, and again set off down the pitch, left foot, near post, and into the bottom corner.
Mervyn Day,
yeah.
Yeah.
See, when I was at Gresley, I was a Villa fan. Never thought of supporting anybody else but Villa. Come to Derby, they gave me a chance to, realise my boyhood dream, and slowly allegiances changed, and I became a Derby fan. So, scoring against Burridge, who played for Villa, scoring against Mervyn Day, who played for Villa. So, it was good. It was a really, really proud moment.
Well, Bobby scored the other goal,
Yes,
nearly got his lights punched out as he headed it.
Very brave header.
Yeah.
So, brave or stupid, but one of them.
And you win 2-1,
Yeah.
and you're promoted. Following weekend, beat Plymouth 4-1, 4-2.
4-2.
Yeah, 4-2.
1-0 down at half time.
Yeah, played shocking
We got a hell of a rollicking at
I
half
can
time.
only imagine. But that's it, you're champions, and suddenly the club is back in the top division.
Yeah.
Did the contract get ripped up again, or did you?
No, that was the
contract,
I had
was
to
it?
carry on with that one. Yeah, no, it wasn't. Didn't matter how much I got paid. I was playing football for a living. Always wanted to do it, and thought the chance had gone. When you sort of finish school, get a job after work, and at 20, that dream comes true.
So into the first division, new arrivals, the likes of Peter Shilton, Mark Wright, eventually Dean Saunders, but you stick in there. Everybody remembers Dean Saunders scoring against Arsenal. But in 88-89...
It was the same season. We did the double over him.
That's right. You stole my thunder.
Oh,
there.
sorry, mate.
That's all right. Who scored the winning goal at the baseball ground?
I got the goal, yeah. A volley, left foot volley, top corner. Quietened a few critics down that day, because I did notice when we were warming up and it was announced I was playing, there was a bit of murmurings in the crowd about, he's playing today. But I never gave less than 100% every time. I didn't go out there to play badly, You can't play well all the time, but you go out with the intent to play well.
All stories like that eventually come to an end, and you move on to Leicester City. And I think it was at Filbert Street. You then had the audacity to score not one, but 2 goals against Derby.
Yeah. Again, John Gregory was there.
Yeah.
And he said to Brian Little, I was given free range everywhere. I could play where I wanted. And that night I started off on the right. I went up for a header with Mickey Forsyth. He headed me, said no friends in this game. I'll be friends after. So I went and played on the left hand side against Cav. No disrespect to Cav, but I didn't want to. I know what Brucey can do. He and I sort of scored the goals from that side. Just doing my job. It was pleasing that I'd scored but Arthur was still manager, because I wanted to prove a point to Arthur. He didn't need to sell me. He could have just let me play the way I wanted. But he always said that me and Dean couldn't play together. Too similar. I think me and Dean played 5 times. We scored 2 each, and we never lost. So if that's not being able to play together, don't know what is.
1994, Derby and Leicester end up at Wembley, playoff final, but you weren't in the Leicester team. Why?
I got injured in the first leg of the semi-final at Tranmere, got concussed, and they deemed me not able to play in the second leg. Our reserves got us to the back end of the season, our reserves played a lot of the first team games, and we got us up there. Because I'd even booked a holiday for the weekend after the playoff final, because I did not think we'd get to the playoffs, but we did. Played in the final against Derby, and Derby were a much better side, you know. We beat them. I don't know what Jossie was doing, but
No, nobody does.
No, it's one of them things, you know. It's on the day. If your luck's in, your luck's in. Whereas Derby's wasn't. You know, I was happy that we got promoted. I was disappointed it was against Derby, because you know I'd have liked us both to have got to the Premier League, but only one of us could.
This is Life After the Rams. I'm Colin Gibson in conversation with Phil G. Life After the Rams is proudly sponsored by Seven Restaurant and Cafe Bar, located on Derby's Pride Park. Seven's the leading destination for all-day dining, artisan coffee and handcrafted cocktails. With a focus on quality, seasonal ingredients and a welcoming atmosphere, Seven is where the community come together to relax, connect and celebrate.
Life After the Rams with Colin Gibson.
But the fairy tales eventually come to an end.
Okay, it ended as quickly as it started, yeah.
Yeah. And back to reality. Literally back to reality.
Yeah, I was injured I can't remember, 96 season. I got injured. And I went for an operation to repair my cartilage, well, to take cartilage away. Came back, and my knee kept swelling. So I was having it drained. I was playing the reserve games, but my knee was swelling after each game. So they'd drain it off. And in the end, after the Palace game, Martin O'Neill said that he would. He said, "I've not seen you play, so you're out of contract, but we'll get you another contract so you can get fit and show what you can do." And I was really, pleased. Got called in, got to let you go. So I'm like, well, I'm not fit. And he said, the doctor says there's nothing wrong with your knee. So I was released.
So having said they'd support you?
Well, it was, yeah. It was at the sort of party after the game, and Martin said that, but he's obviously been told by the people above I've got to be released. So I went to Hereford. I had a chat with Graham Turner. He told me a few things about when he wanted to sign me to play up front with ball, but Arthur wouldn't let me go. I didn't know that, but I also had to have a medical, and during the medical their surgeon said there's something wrong with your left knee, go and get it sorted. So I phoned Mr. Cargill up and asked him if he could do the exploratory for me. He found lots of arthritis in my knee. I got bone on bone, so I couldn't take full-time training and had to pack in.
So as emotional as a feeling of elation that you could tell the manager of the paint firm where to stick his paintbrushes, and that came in an instant.
Yeah.
At the other end, the career is over in an instant.
Exactly, yeah.
How do you cope with it?
I didn't to start with.
Right.
No, I went off the rails a little bit. I can tell everybody that the answer to anything is not in the bottom of a glass.
Right.
Yeah. So that's
where it took you.
That's as far as I'll. Yeah.
Right. What got you out of it?
Thinking of the family. I was going to lose the house. Obviously, the kids have nowhere to live, and that's. I just knuckled down to started up painting again. I mean, I had to do jobs that just to get some money. I was standing on the end of a a production line packing envelopes that go in magazines to be delivered to people's houses just to get some money in. And I decided, right, you can do painting and decorating again. Get out there and get it done.
So that's what you did?
Yeah, I went. I got with a building contractor, and I was painting the houses, the new houses that he was building. I think that was for about 4 years, and then the housing market crashed. So, because I was a contractor and he had permanent painters on his books, he said contractors have got to go. Now, I'm out of work again. And somebody at Bombardier, who was a big Derby County fan, who was one of the managers there, had heard that I was looking for work, and he said, well, let's get Phil in. We don't want to see an ex-Derby player out of work.
They just took a chance on you?
Yeah. So I went in. They wanted me as a team leader because they thought I was a captain of some sort, but I went in there as a fitter. I did a mini apprenticeship, if you like. I was taught the ropes, and I was there for, I think, 4 years at Bombardier.
And how did your fellow workers, I'll use the word treat you, because a lot of them would have seen you on that baseball ground pitch wearing the black and white, and they would think, he just did what I wanted to do, what I wanted to be, and now here he is alongside me.
They used to talk a lot about football to me, but I was treated like one of the lads, one of them. You know, I was doing the same job as them. I was no different to them, which is true. You know, I'm working in the same place as they are. I'm doing the same job, getting paid the same money as them, and I'm one of them. You know, I never told anybody what I did before. If they found out and come and ask me, we'd talk about it. It was strange to go to, because I thought that, you know, people would be sort of looking at me and asking me questions all the time. But they left me alone, you know, which was good of them. But it was, they just let me get on and learn and do what I was paid to do.
And eventually, you end up in China.
This was 2011. We had, we were bidding for, I think, Crossrail or Thameslink with Siemens, and I had the manager come along to me while I was on one of the underframes. He said, Phil, he says, do you fancy going to China? And I said, well, I'll just see how we get on with this bid, because there was going to be about 7 years' work if they won it. And he just looked at me and went, Phil, do you want to get to China? Oh, we haven't got it. And he wanted 6 people from Bombardier to... It wasn't for Bombardier, but it was for a friend of his who needed 6 expats to go over there. So 6 of us went out there for 3-month contracts. 3 months at a time, come back for 2 weeks, go out for another 3 months, come back for 2 weeks.
Doing what?
We were trying to improve the quality on these trains. They were for Australia. They were being built by the Chinese, but the Australians weren't happy with the quality. So the guy who was the project manager was an English guy and said, I'll get the quality up. We'll get some lads from England to come out. And for the 9 months that we should have been there, we were there for 22, because we got the quality up, we got it running, we kept it running, and then when we left, there was about 8 trains to build. Apparently the quality just went downhill again.
What about the culture shock?
We read up on it before we went.
Okay.
Yeah. But that doesn't prepare you for it. You know, the amount. It's a different way of life. I mean, it's freezing cold in the winter, and the winter goes from October through to May. Minus 30 odd.
Wow.
And with the wind chill, the worst was minus 42 in the winter. But the people are so friendly. We were treated really well. You know, I've still got friends out there now, you know, that I keep in touch with, and I'd love to. You know, I will go back to see them.
And rolling stock has become your life, hasn't it?
It has, yeah. I've been here, there, and everywhere with it. All over this country. China twice. I'm now on another side now with the Freightliner, with the freight trains, with Siemens. Big contract, changing everything to the European braking systems. So
I don't know how to say this, but
I'm not a train spotter, if that's where you're going. Yeah.
But when you see a train, do you think, I've worked on that one?
Yes, I have travelled on a couple of them, but I've said to whoever I've been with, if you rip up the floor, because every one of the Turbo Stars, once we've turned it to put the floor down, I autographed it. I left my signature on the underframe before we put the floor down.
That's a great story. Are you amazed that it has become such a part of your life?
Yeah, because of contracting, it just takes me everywhere, and it's hard to settle. I now live in Portsmouth Way, which is a lovely part of the country. Like this weekend, I've been down the beach. I've been at the Port Solent Marina and what have you, walking around, and ice cream and 28 degrees.
Where's home?
Home is there, but Derby, when I come back here, always feels like I'm back home, which I am, because I work up here all week and I only spend 2 days. So Derby is my home, and I got the job working at the ground on match days, which I really love. It's good to see everybody, especially when we were got promoted that season, and the smiling faces.
Would you have liked to play at Pride Park?
Yes, but in our style. They don't play the way we played anymore. I'll watch the game, and we have a corner against, and apart from their goalkeeper, you've got everybody in that box. We used to leave myself, mainly because I couldn't defend, and sometimes another up front. So they'd have to have at least 3 back, plus the goalie, plus one in front of them. So you've got more in the box of our players than their players. So the chances are you're going to win the ball and clear it. And once you clear it, you've got somebody to chase it. Whereas now, you clear it, it comes straight back. The way I played in the channels, the ball doesn't get put there anymore. The ball gets played along the back, into midfield, back, into midfield, to the side. I'd have done 4 miles before the...
Do you have to be careful that, like you said, I can bore people to death about trains and so on, that you don't do the same with football by saying, oh, it wasn't like this in my day, which is what I do.
No, I try and go along with the modern game, but it is frustrating, because when you sat there, in my mind, I'm making runs when somebody's got the ball in midfield. There's people can make these runs, but they're not coached that way anymore. It's. I think Pep spoilt the game, isn't he?
He's not done too bad. If there was one moment you'd pick out in your time at Derby, is there one standout moment?
Oh, there's lots. Making my debut at Barnsley in the reserves. We'd played 3 and lost 3, and that was my first game. Made my debut there. I scored, and I set one up for Steve Biggins. I mean, that'll never leave me. Scoring at Sheffield, scoring at Leeds, against Leeds, the goal against Arsenal, winning a league, the league that we're playing in now, winning that. It's a lot of highs. There's been quite a few lows when I'm not playing and what have you, and that destroys your confidence. That when you. My last game for Derby was against Villa in the FA Cup, and I scored 2. We're playing Plymouth the game after. I'm not playing, but I'd scored 2 the game before. Destroys you. when you're given confidence, like Brian Little gave me, I only scored 2 in the remainder of the season from March to the end of the season. But I started that season off 6 in 8, top scorer in the league, and got injured.
One last thing. There's a lot of speculation about Phil G and Liverpool.
Now, that story I was told by a guy that worked with me at Bombardier, who said he was a scout for Liverpool, and told me a story about getting called to the ground at Liverpool, thinking he was in trouble for something. He's got there, and they asked him questions about me, and he said, "Yeah, he's worth it." So on the phone they are. I think it was the people who ran Little Woods that were, or the Pools or whatever, that owned Liverpool at the time. They were on the phone with Arthur and Robert Maxwell. And I found this out later when Derby played against Birmingham in a pre-season friendly, because I ignored that story that I was told about by my mate at Bombardier until I was talking to a reporter from the Birmingham Mail who came over to me and said, "I think I ruined your career." I said, "No." I said, "I think I did that myself." And he said, "No." He said, "Robert Maxwell rang me up when I was working for the Mirror and asked me if we sold G to Liverpool, how would the fans take it?" And he said they wouldn't be very happy. So apparently Maxwell phoned up Liverpool and said no sale, and they signed John Aldridge instead.
I'm glad he didn't go.
But I would have scored that penalty at Wembley.
Yeah. Phil, it's been great.
No, enjoyed it, pleasure as well. Yeah, it's absolutely, I love doing these sort of things because it brings so many memories back. Like when you said Darlington. Yeah.
And that was at Eaton's.
Yeah, as well. And I scored in that game.
Yeah, we lost, didn't we, though?
We lost 2-1, but
yeah,
I don't know. We were promoted, but
yeah.
And I scored. So 2-2.
Phil, thank you. Some fascinating stories, the highs and lows of a football career, and also what follows. Don't forget your chance to win a £50 voucher to spend in the DCFC Megastore. That's courtesy of Rams Trust, the Derby County Supporters Trust. All you've got to do is simply answer this question via email, lifeaftertherams@backpassproductions.co.uk. Who did Phil room with whilst he was at Derby County? The closing date is midnight Wednesday, October the 8th. The winner will be selected at random from all the correct entries, and good luck. In our next episode, Eric Steele reflects on why so few goalies become managers, on why once you've worn the Derby shirt, it really never leaves you.
There's something about Derby that when you've been here and you've played here and you get to know the area, it's for life. And that really happens in terms of being associated with the club as well. You do become really, really a lifelong supporter.
That's out on October the 9th, so subscribe now so you don't miss it. Thanks to Rams Trust for donating our prize, and thanks to 7 Restaurant and Cafe Bar in Derby for supporting us. Located on Derby's Pride Park, 7 is the leading destination for all-day dining, artisan coffee and handcrafted cocktails. With a focus on quality, seasonal ingredients and a welcoming atmosphere, 7 is where the community comes together to relax, connect and celebrate.
Life After the Rams is a Back Pass production.